So to work with the relations, first quickly let us go to the TypeORM website and see what do they have to say in terms of the relationships. So I'll go to many to one and one to many. Okay, so it has the this entity photo and then we have user. So one user, one has many photos, so that's how they have done it, right? So we can use the same process, and this has many to one. The so the photo is basically many photos are related to one user, but one user can have many, and that's how the relation is. And in our case we will have a quiz, which is user, because one user will have many questions, and this is our question because it belongs to one quiz. Okay, if it is confusing, don't worry about it, we're going to do it so you will understand. Okay, so first let's go into our quiz entity. Where is our quiz entity? In here. So inside the quiz entity we will need to add a question. So one to many. Okay, I think it was like this, right? Yeah, so the arrow function, then the entity name, comma, this. Let's follow that. Question dot, okay, so I need to add that field. Let us do one thing. First of all, go to questions. So the question entity, right? Question entity is here. Inside the question entity we need to have quiz. So many to one. Okay, let's do the child first. So this belongs to quiz. Quiz is quiz dot questions. Okay, I think this is a catch 22 situation because we will not have one or the other. So let me add this. I hope it's there. Question. Okay, and we will say questions is an array of questions. Okay, like so. So basically what is going to happen is I'm defining one field in here, which is inside the quiz entity. I'm saying this is a questions field, which is an array of questions. And then this is the decorator which defines the relationship. It says that it is a question type. So the entity is defined, and now in here I can define the question.quiz because that's how the reverse entity is going to be mapped, if that makes sense. So basically what is going to happen is, now let us come over here, refresh the table. I'm not sure if this will get updated. Let me see. So I'm on the quiz table. First let's look at the quiz table. Okay, there's no change in here. Obviously it doesn't need to, but when we look at this, it has a quiz ID. So you can see what had happened, rather what happened when we made this relationship was, we said that quiz is going to be a field which has questions in it. Quiz will have a field called questions, and the questions, because it's a many to one, it created that ID field or the quiz ID field. However, I'm just wondering, okay, I think this is the syntax which is being followed and hence the quiz ID. Yeah, that's how the quiz ID column was created. So now let's see, if we create a quiz, at that point I do need to send the relationship information as well, right? Otherwise how will the relation work. So somehow it should have one in here for the entity to work. So how do we do that? So let's jump back to our code. I'll close all of them, and first of all, open question controller. Inside the question controller, right, we are creating this question, which is fine, but I think we need to get the quiz as well, because that's how we will be able to map it. So why don't we first of all go over here and do quiz ID. It's going to be a number is not empty, like so. Okay, now that means the validations will run, and I can do constant quiz equals await, and I don't have a function, I think, which gives me a quiz. So why don't we quickly do that? The get all quiz is fine, but we need get quiz by ID. Okay, it needs an ID for sure, and we are going to return this quiz repository find one rather ID. Okay, and because this is an async function, okay, and this is of type promise quiz, again, this is, as I told you, it's optional. I like to do this. It gives me a better understanding of the function. Okay, now we only have the question service. I would like to also inject private quiz service of type quiz service. Okay, and in here this dot quiz service dot get quiz by ID, and that is going to be question dot quiz ID. Okay, so yeah, I got the quiz. Now what I will do is I will send it over here, and inside our service we are getting the question DTO, right? Why don't we also add the quiz parameter, which is of type quiz? Should work. Yeah. Okay, and now the next thing which we will have to do is inside our create question, right? This is the save. Now it will change a bit because I can't simply send the entire question object, because it has the quiz ID, which is of no use. So question dot question, something like this. Okay, and let's just take this as new question equals. Okay, it is expecting the question, so I'll just return new question over here. But now, so we have created the question. Okay, but we need to map the quiz with the new question. So what I can do is, let's see, I'll go through the documentation for you to understand, or no, why don't we simply do that? So quiz dot questions is equal to new question, like so. Quiz dot save. Okay, this is going to be an await, and why is it squawking? Quiz dot questions is missing the following property from this. Okay, quiz dot questions comma new this. Okay, so yeah, because this is an array, right, we will have to keep the old ones and then add the new one. That's how it is. I could have done this as well, so it will add it to the top, or we can do it any which ways. I mean, doesn't matter. But what I'm expecting now is that this time when we create a new question, this database should have that entry. This is our quiz. No, this is our questions. Yeah, this is the question table. So we have only one question. Let's go back to Postman. Inside question, I'll send the quiz ID and say, which is your favorite programming language? Okay. Too lazy to type the entire thing, so going with shortcuts, it says there is an error. Quiz.questions is not iterable. Now that is interesting. Let's see. Quiz entity. So we have questions, questions. This is fine. Maybe, I don't know. Let me see. Question service. Will this work? I think the opposite is not working. Come over here. No, it still says it's not iterable. So question service create question is where it is breaking, right? This is here. So it is failing here. Why? Okay. Why don't we just first check whether so far this code is working or not? And it does. There's no problem with that. So actually we have created all of them and everyone is with null. So now the question is, why is it not working? So we are getting the quiz questions. Okay, so I know why this is happening. The basic problem is that quiz.questions is kind of undefined right now, because what has happened is, if I go into the controller, right, this get quiz by id is only returning the quiz data and not the questions. Okay, and that is something which we don't want. We want the questions, right? So we need to add the relation, which is questions. Okay, once we do that, okay, if I now go to the question service, only then the quiz will have the question. Okay, and that's how this thing will work, because then it is an array which is iterable and it will not complain. So let's see. I was trying a few things and it was not working, so I had to refer the documentation, and that's how I understood. So truncate questions, just clean out everything and select start from questions maybe. Okay, nothing is there. And why don't we add a question, run the query, and it says yes, the quiz id is 1. Okay, something like that. And right, we get all of them. So the basic relationships are working, and now the only thing which we can quickly do is create one URL over here, which is going to be a get URL. Okay, id get, wrong controller, not inside question but rather quiz controller. Inside quiz controller we have get quiz by id. Okay, it will depend on the parameters from the URL. Okay, and it's a get URL. the URL will be /id. Okay, so far so good. And one thing which I need to do is ensure that it is a number. So I think it's parse int pipe. Yes, let's see, return id. So what I'm trying to do here is, this is a new URL which is let's just say get quiz/1, and it should return me 1. Yes, that's working. 2, right. So pretty simple. This dot service dot get quiz by id, pass the id, right? And because this is an async operation, I do this and we are now good to go. So let's see, when we do 2, okay, application hasn't started, so the questions is empty because for quiz id 2 there are no questions, whereas if I do 1 there are 2 questions to this particular quiz. So yes, that's how the relations work, and we have this get URL which is fetching the relations as well. Hope you like this video, and also I hope you like this series so far. I find it very interesting working with Nest and TypeORM. Do share your thoughts as well. And yeah, if you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.